Hi you guys, Ginger Cook here. It's Acrylic Painting Monday. This is an actual step-by-step tutorial. We're going to be painting just a colorful vase of flowers. We do a lot of flowers, but everybody seems to like them, and lots of different ways to do them. We'll talk a little bit about the difference between being loose and messy, about not overworking a piece, but on the other hand, what does that mean? Did I overwork it? Can you overwork a piece if it's an acrylic as opposed to an oil paint? We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about what are your basic skills as an artist. Did you just dive into the most advanced lesson you could find and hope for the best, or did you learn to dog paddle first? We'll talk about why dog paddling. Sometimes you might have to come back to dog paddle a little bit to be able to advance further, particularly if you're stuck somewhere and you've gotten just like a wall. You can paint this good, but you can't get past that wall. Perhaps it's because you didn't dog paddle some of these other steps. But they can always be learned regardless of the time you decide to learn them, but you really do need to know them, okay? So we'll talk about all that. We'll come on down to our table now. I've got a 9x12 canvas. Now, it's only painted light purple like this because that's what I happen to have. In an ideal world, this would have been painted light phthalo blue, okay? How's that? But this isn't an ideal world. And it's a 9x12, as you can see, stretch canvas. Blick Premier, which I'm not at all happy with, but that's all right. I certainly wouldn't recommend this canvas myself, though I do like some of their boards. All right, so that being said.
Whose canvas was that?
This is called Blick Premier, and I'm just telling you what, I had a terrible time trying to get I had to go over my traceable with a chalk and a pen and stuff to even get it to show up on here. Yeah, not a fan, but that's all right. Maybe it'll hold the paint better. Who knows? At this point, I'm not a fan, but that's all right. Yes and yes. I'm going to double check my vase here. If I'm saying that's where my point is it good, or do I need to take the point off a little bit? Sometimes when you trace on, particularly when you're doing it again. Maybe I'll just curve that up like that. Just take that point off like that, see? Make sure they're kind of even all the way down, like this side balances this side and so forth. All right. So that's our techniques. Those are just tiny little techniques you can do. So I've got to have a background of bright colors, but I want to put some white where my yellows and reds are going to go because they will paint best over white. We'll get the most brightest colors. So I'll take some titanium white, and I want to welcome everybody to our channel. If you're new, we do, starting in 2024, really the end of 2023, we started doing something called story time. There's no water on the brush, by the way. And in our story time series, those are not tutorials. Those are just me painting in the studio. But on Mondays, we do tutorials. We try to keep them one or two cookie pretty simple. We try to pass on some information you might find helpful. If you really went back, I've got to say there's a gal that's been looking at every video I've ever done and learning from them. There's so much information on this channel. It's unbelievable. And a lot of art dog paddling lessons. That's the way I would put it. Yes, John?
Absolutely.
And I can't express enough the importance of a couple of things. Having a good professional white. I don't care what other paint you bought, but you better have, I'd get a golden professional or a heavy body Liquitex or somebody that's got a professional going paint. And anyway, those won't say more, but you know where I'm coming with this, you guys. So that I would prefer that because you just won't be fighting the paint. I remember years ago when I got my first condominium in Aspen. I was about 18 years old. Colby and I his dad and I had just been married. When the bank bought us a condo, trust fund bought us this beautiful 3-bedroom condo with a basement for workshops. It was awesome. And so I was an artist, and Colby liked to tinker and do things. And it was an absolutely marvelous setup. But you know, it snows and stuff like that. And of course, the realtor and the company that we bought the place from had, the windows were all sparkly and they were new. But it didn't take long for the rain and the sleet and the snow and the dust from the road and who knows what, right? It didn't take long for those windows to look dirty. Now I have to understand, you have to understand, I never washed a window in my life, but I'd seen some commercials about it. Okay? I'd seen that, seen it on TV. People wash windows. They don't seem to have, it's not that big a deal. I remember getting some Windex because that was the products that the TV recommended to get, some Windex. And proceeded to wash the windows. And I had a newspaper. Started off with a paper towel, but that left lint in the, so I had a newspaper. And I'm going to put a little tiny tint of magenta with this flower right here. Just mix that in there. So I went and I washed the windows, and I'd go outside and I'd go inside and they still were streaked. And I must have, this wasn't a very big set of windows. I mean, you're talking about maybe 5 feet wide and, you know, just, I don't know, 6 windows, 8 windows got separated and stuff. I was in there, I spent hours on that. I could not get, just that, I didn't do the rest of the house, mind you. That was just the set as you walked in the front door. And then it was explained to me that probably what would be better if I had wanted to do that was use a squeegee. So, you know, I said I could do that. I could buy a squeegee. You know, I won't be cheap. I'll buy a squeegee. So I bought the squeegee for $5-6 at the grocery store. And it was slightly better than the newspaper, but it wasn't great, okay? Wasn't really all that wonderful. But nonetheless, you know, I bought it. You get a little bit of yellow and orange here on this one. Okay, so then I was walking down the street, I guess, you know, because I did a lot of walking in those days in Aspen. And I saw a guy washing this window, and he had a squeegee like I did, and it took him seconds, and that window was clean. And I mean, you gotta, if you've ever washed a window and watched anybody struggle doing it, right? I mean, I was a struggler, and I'm not even a sock folder. Can you imagine? You know, I'm not a sock folder, and even on my sloppy standards, it wasn't good enough. Okay, and they weren't very high, you guys. They were not very high, but they weren't good enough. Okay, it just wasn't good enough, and I so wanted it to be better than what I had. Okay, I should stop and tell you what the colors I'm using are. Sorry, I didn't do that at the beginning. I'm using yellow oxide, cad yellow medium, cad yellow light. I'm using something called marigold, cadmium orange, cadmium red light, cadmium red, magenta, purple, phthalo blue, phthalo green, and ultramarine blue, and titanium white. So getting back to my story about the window washer, is that the lesson that you can learn as artists from that is, you don't really save by not buying the good stuff. If you want your paintings, and you want your white, at least your white. Be nice if you could do all of it, but at least your white, you want a, you know, really good white. It's like having a good squeegee. At least invest in the white. Would you say that was fair, John?
I think so, absolutely. White is the key. I mean, it's used, 90% of the paint on there is white.
I know. So I'm just going to pull it, you know, just kind of color in the, taking white and a little bit of magenta, and I'm just going to kind of put my vase in. I'm going to bring it up now because we're not, I won't entertain any questions about it. The questions probably is going to come up. How's your daughter Cinnamon? You've got to keep track of, you know, kind of listen to her channel if you want the latest information. I can tell you that I talked to her today, and she seemed very chipper. And, you know, so I was pleased about that. And but that's all I got. Okay. And as far as, you know, if someone says, "Oh, who's your daughter?" and the Cinnamon Cooney, the art Sherpa. See this little oval I've got going here, you guys. And we're just getting a layer of paint on here. And I think I'll take a little phthalo green and white and paint the bottom of this. You're going, wow, that's different. Looks like a birthday cake, huh? So any questions, John?
Not so far, my queenness.
Well, we want to give a shout out to our moderators. Who's here, John?
Well, I know we've got moderator Steffi, Tech Liz, Lynn, and Liz. I see, and Luann. I haven't seen Judy's name go flying by as of yet.
Judy sent me the most marvelous cookies for my birthday.
Bribery always works.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. They're just marvelous. They're like kind of like the ones for Christmas Eve that she sent, same company, but these ones are even yummier. It's hard. The ones from Christmas were really yummy, but these others are just really yummy. Does that make sense?
What brand of paint is your marigold?
The marigold is Holbein.
Yes,
And but you can make a kind of a marigold with a little orange and yellow. Let me show you. Want to see it? Here's a little cad yellow. Here's a tiny bit of orange. What do you think? Did I get marigold?
Darn close to it.
Yes. Sometimes it's just having these. You know, if you're a big flower person, it's just nice to have all the colors. It's kind of lazy, though, isn't it?
Well, it comes down, if it's the color you're going to constantly be using, why do you want to keep mixing it? If
And
you're always
generally
using
speaking, those kind of pigments, particularly with the primaries, those kind of pigments are a little deeper than what you can mix.
You'd be a little richer.
You're a little richer, that kind of thing. Like the difference between butter and margarine. Then that's another discussion.
Oh, the margarine that's one molecule away from plastic? That one?
That one.
Well, I guess you can tell we don't have margarine in our house.
Yeah, no. I don't think I ever had margarine until I went to somebody else's house for dinner. This is ultramarine blue, by the way.
Yeah, we were a butter family.
Yeah, we were a butter family too. But you know, we came from Washington State, where the commercial said, contented cows can take their bows. Their products are sure to please. Milk, ice cream, and cottage cheese. See, I still remember that stuff. I know.
That's
You want to
from
only have
Washington
the
State. It
contented
sounds like a
cows in the
Wisconsin
key here.
thing.
Contented cows. If you don't have a contented cow, kiss your ice cream goodbye, right?
Apparently.
That's right. I mean, I learned these things as a kid, and it must be true, right?
It's got to be true.
So, this is sort of fun. We're just chatting along here and doing our thing. I love doing our thing. The temptation is to just sit here telling you stories, but that's for tomorrow. We'll do story time. At least try to do it 2 times a week.
Try to.
I got to tell you about the time remind me to tell you the story about the time the FBI just raided my house with like 5 cars, and I mean it was the real deal. I'm going, oh my God! My thought was, I have been watching too many crime shows. What are these people doing here? So we'll have to tell you about that sometime. You're right. It's been an interesting life. So
to say the least.
Yeah, you know. So anyhow, but remind me that'll be a story. Now this is phthalo green and white, and I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to kind of block in some color on our painting. Just phthalo green and white. That's all we're doing here. Because phthalo green and white really is almost it's a turquoise blue is what it is, all right? It's really nice. It's a nice color. And by itself, I think I could just ignore that leaf. I'll just put it in. So let's see. So back to those things we talked about messy versus deliberate. Is being loose messy? No, it's just not being as particular about the brush strokes. Maybe having larger brush strokes, bigger brush. Like I have a stroke like this, and then just leave it alone, okay? As opposed to just going over and over and over and over and over and over and over it. You don't want to do that, but there's a tendency that people kind of do that, right? Let's start with here a little bit of this light green here around the table, like that. And I'm going to change brushes and get a slightly larger brush now, because I'm going to come on up here with some more paint. And just come on up in this corner, just a bigger brush, see what I mean? And just cut in around the flowers a little bit, but don't overpaint it. If my brush doesn't have any water on it, that's why I haven't thinned the paint out, all right? And I'm able to do that precisely because the paint has not been thinned out. Now I do a combination of white, phthalo green, and a little phthalo blue. Kind of half and half here. Kind of mix that on the canvas, see that? This is a large silver 3/4 inch angle brush. Everything's still staying wet. Okay, and now we're going to come in here with phthalo blue down here at the bottom. Let's put a little tiny magenta with it, phthalo blue and magenta. Okay. See how dark that got? Now, come on up this far. Now, rather than rinse the brush, I'm just going to wipe it off. Do you see that? Get a little bit of that phthalo green color. A little bit more white. As I come next to this vase, I've got this lighter color. Maybe a bit up here too. Let's bring some of this down from the top. A little bit of phthalo blue just down from the top like that. Push it and lift up. Kind of twist it. There you go. All right. That's what you call kind of painting loose. Take a little bit of this dark blue and maybe come on over here like that with it. One stroke and quit. Yeah, okay. And you know, there's a lot of different ways to do backgrounds. I just think it's so much more interesting if you don't do them all the same. Yes and yes. Now, certain things have to dry before other things happen. Like this is still wet, so I can't put any white on top of this till that dries. I can, however, work on my flowers a little bit.
Carrie's got a question.
Sure.
Would it work to do an abstract type background with maybe crisscross, or would that be too busy?
It would be very busy.
To be competing.
Very busy. You could do a background first like this and not try to paint around the flowers. You could do that. Going back over with some white. You absolutely do that. But you don't want busy. You've got to have some place that, even though this looks kind of busy, but even when I put the white on, it's not going to be too busy. All right. See how this white is just sort of melted into the, just disappeared, even though it's a professional grade white. All right. So we'll do that. At that point, it doesn't look like much, and I think that's what happens to people when you kind of get into the painting something and it kind of has this sort of messy look, and you're going, How is that ever, ever, ever going to be a painting? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? That's why we have tutorials and classes and art coaching and all that stuff, to show you how to get from here to the final piece. Or on Mondays, we do fun tutorials like this. All right? So one thing I can do is I can take some ultramarine blue and phthalo green, and I can make a dark green. Okay? And I might put a little tiny bit of magenta, like 1% of magenta in it. Just darken that up really dark, okay? And I might come around this flower here and see where I want to do something dark. Something dark around the vase. Kind of cut into these. Okay. So let's kind of dry it a little bit, but I want to do a little bit more to the background before I get too carried away. I can come in here like this and just do a little bit of this dark color. But again, I don't want to do too much because I want this background to dry. Yes and yes. So back. Let's see, this is dry a little bit, so we can put another coat of something on it. So we'll take some phthalo green and white again, and we'll just do our next coat there. And you'll see I'm not mixing it very much. That's the next coat. And again, this is where we start to get looser. Now I'm going to go into the white on my brush and barely touch it. Wipe a little bit of this off. Okay, so I picked up, see what happened here? I was wiping my brush and I picked up some color on this paper towel. So now I have some color up there I don't particularly want. Okay, happy accident, yes. And we'll do some white, and I'll get another paper towel here. Okay, so I want some white, but that white is too opaque. So opaque means you can't see through it. So let's do some zinc white, which is your transparent white. And I might take a different brush, just go right into that, and let's see. Get another paper towel down here to kind of wipe, tap off the excess in there. Here. See the difference? That's your zinc white. And if it was white, it would just be too much. But the zinc white gives it that sort of, it's interesting. The zinc white allows a little bit more movement in the paint without just being too distracting. So it's slightly damp, but not. It's just a little tacky. That's all. I'd say that was tacky. So
that's a good way to put it.
Here's some more of the phthalo green up in here like that. And it's just going to get this whoop, whoop, whoop. Can even do sound effects, yeah? Okay. All right. And then let's come on up here and do that again. Kind of swirl it this way.
Let's give a huge thanks to Jules for her donation. It came in through Zella, or Zell, or Zelly. You're awesome, and you got some tickets in the old fishbowl.
Jules, thank you so much. We really appreciate the help, you guys. I know that sometimes your help is just sharing the videos, but anytime that you, help with the scholarship funds and help and just generally help support the channel, that's lovely, and we thank you very much for it. All right, so this is dry. The table's dry, and the vase I could do more on, but let's do the table. So take some white. Where did that palette go? I had one left here.
Did you have one left? You got
Yeah,
it?
one sheet left.
One sheet.
Okay, so I've got, I like to have something where I can kind of spread out the paint like that. You know, here's the white. I want to make a color, and I want a little bit magenta and a tiny bit of cad yellow light. Now I've got a peach color. Do you see that? So now that I've got a color on here, again, I can add some paint to this tablecloth, because it's going to be a flowered tablecloth, and layer that on. Bring some of the design down this way. Maybe make it a little bit more pink right there. Okay, so we know that the light's kind of coming this way, and this is the dark side of the vase. Yes and yes? So we're going to have on this side of the tablecloth, we're going to have some blue. We're going to take that's phthalo, and then we're going to get a little bit ultramarine blue as we come up to the vase. And we're going to suggest that the shadows kind of go in this way. All right. Then I might take some phthalo green and white. Remember, because I like that color. Let's do this. Let's come along under here like this and add some of this color to our tablecloth. It doesn't all have to be exactly the same. Some can be darker. Okay? Don't worry about that. Maybe I want a little bit of this green up here, phthalo color. Don't want to get too carried away because it's got to dry, but before I can keep layering. But that's kind of the idea behind it, right? There's a little darker right here. Maybe a little purple. That's pretty. Let's do some purple. Ooh, I like that. Okay. And as long as we're into purple, let's take a little purple here on this side of the vase and darken that. And I'll take a little phthalo green and ultramarine blue and darken it up here. I want to talk where the top of it is, on the bottom. And then we'll take a little bit of the lighter blue, maybe zinc white this time, and phthalo blue, and put that on here like that. I'll just round this off a bit more. Okay. Okay. And then maybe we'll just take a little bit of, now that's, this is just zinc white with nothing on it. See how much paint? Barely touch it. 1, 2. Okay, that's your highlight.
The angle brush really makes a difference.
Yeah, you could just, just
like
on one side, don't talk about it. Yes, yes?
Yep.
So people always say, well, how do you know how much paint to put where? Sometimes you want to, because what we're doing is we're layering. Here's a little white and a little bit of cad yellow medium. That's too much yellow, so let's get some more white. Okay. And I'm just laying the brush flat, and we'll talk about this. Staying away from all that. Putting that there. Okay, just sort of dragging it over, letting it catch that layer of paint. So that's cool. So I know I've got some yellow, so here's some cad yellow medium and the cad yellow light together. And I'm going to just say, here's my kind of thick flower here. Again, this is kind of abstract, you guys, but we're just going to generally get the shape. And I like that color too. This cad yellow medium might come up here and do that on this flower. The angle brush really allows you to do the petals. It allows that to happen. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Kind of twist the brush. See that? First layer. 1, 2, 3. That was it. Okay. That was it. 1, 2, 3. This is a little dark right here. Where's my other brush for the blue paint? I think I want a little bit of Zinc White, Phthalo blue, and ultramarine blue. A little more Zinc White. Zinc White will lighten it without making it chalky. There, okay.
Would this be a good painting to use gels with?
I think it would be hard because you could do the gel on the flowers, but you'd have to have the background done. Might be, could do a little bit of gel, you know, for sure, a little bit. Or just...
yeah, I'd do it on the flowers, but...
Yeah, I could do a little bit on the flowers. But again, you have to be patient with gel because it just doesn't dry. So far we've got a really hideous vase and really hideous tablecloth. And you're wondering, what is she thinking? I think people just like to watch the end of the videos to see how I pull it out, don't you? Like watching an airplane nosedive into the ground. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Just pull up, for God's sakes, pull up. You know, that kind of thing, right? I get it. I'm not offended. Go ahead, say it. I'm not offended. Well, maybe a little offended, but you naysayers, just wait and see. Don't start painting around people and in public. Worst thing you can do for your ego is to paint in public. People come along and say, "Mama, what is she painting? It looks hideous." You don't need it, right? You don't need it. When you're learning to paint, or have most of the painting done and then do a few little final touches of it as you're painting in public, and then, "Oh, Mom, she's brilliant. Look at that." See, big difference. You know, go from "What is that cow painting?" to "She's brilliant." Yeah. So you gotta watch all that stuff. You think I kid you? I wouldn't kid you. I speak from experience. Sadly to tell you, I speak from great experience. All right. So I'm going to take, let's see, I think I want to put a little more white. I've got really kind of bungled up the white here, but it's all right.
Let's give Sharon a thank you for her donation that came in through PayPal. Thank you, Miss Sharon.
For those of you guys that are wondering, thank you, Sharon, so much. What we're talking about when you're in the fishbowl, all right? For every $25 that a person contributes during a quarter of the quarter, that's like 3 months, right?
A quarter is 3 months.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, maybe you did $5 1 month and 20 another, or 10, 10, and 5, or whatever. If you get a quarter, if you get $25, however you do it, you know, for every $25, we call it a ticket in the fishbowl. We do a drawing on air with all these little tickets, and for every $25 you get a ticket. So if you contributed, say, $200 in 3 months period, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 tickets, right?
I was wondering how you're going to do that one. Boy, that was good. How about if it was $275? Oh, don't do that.
So anyhow, but that's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to do. And what do you get with that? Well, we have these paintings. You know, there's usually 5 winners, 4 or 5 winners. And what happens is that the first person gets a
gets first pick.
Gets first pick, and the second person gets the next pick, and so on. The last person that is drawn, you know, they're let me just move this.
Take a pause in the action.
We'll take a pause real quick. That has to dry anyway. And we'll talk about what this is in a minute. The next person that, here, just move all that out of the way. So the paintings that are, that someone could pick from for this quarter, and when is that over, John?
We got December, January, end of February.
At the end of February, there'll be, this was one of our most popular YouTube videos from last year, and so we're doing that one. We're giving that, that's a, you know, someone can win that. And then...
I like that one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And then this is an interesting, it's original, never a tutorial. It's the companion piece for another painting I did in our landscape that we did last year in the Academy, or our online art school, okay? And then when I was playing around with doing tutorials for portraits, this was one I designed when I was in Australia. I think I was very inspired by that. Kind of the cowgal woman. Everybody has cowboys. And so I really like this this one. And this is one of it's a 9x12. This is a painting that someone could choose. And then for those of you who want a little cozy winter scene with the lights and the snow and everything, we have this one. So they're all original pieces by me. And we hope that, so that's why when we say you have to take it in the fishbowl, and we keep track of it, whether you donated it through YouTube or it used to be we couldn't keep track of the YouTube donations, but we now can. So even if it's on YouTube, you know, we appreciate everything you guys do. And there were about 5 people scholarshiped in the last couple months because of your generous donations. All right, so this is a new thing we're doing. If you followed our newsletter, I said about 9 o'clock last night, John, do we have any way to do any crossword puzzles? They said, what do you mean? I said, well, is there any, surely there must be a program now on the internet that lets you do crossword puzzles. And there weren't. There was like, we had to go through like 5 things to, you know, we went through 3 different programs to create this. But John, nonetheless, stayed up till 3 in the morning for you guys, almost 4, to finish this basic crossword puzzle. The answers will be in next week's Gazette. But it was all based on paints, like... the
basics of acrylics.
But the basics of acrylics, for instance, like a fast-drying 14 across. See, it says 14A is... Right, that's how you did it, right? Across, right?
We have a cross in the first section.
We have a cross here and then down here. Do you see that? Right? Down.
Cross and down.
So this was a 14 down, was a fast-drying paint made of pigment suspended in acrylic polymer emulsion. Well, you probably all know the answer to that. I bet you don't know the answer to all of these, but it will give you. But it's fun to do. We have a PDF that you can just print out. If we had enough interest, we might even figure out a way for you to be able to do it online. But right now, you have to print them out. But again, we'll give you that. And we're going to base this on just art stuff, okay? And so if you enjoy these crossword puzzles, please let us know.
Well, we just did a questionnaire.
Yeah.
Did you see our acrylic basic crossword puzzle? If so, do you like the idea? 46% said yes, I like it, I like the idea. 3% said yes, I don't have any more interest. And 51% did not see it.
Oh, yeah, see, because you weren't getting the Gazette.
If you don't get the Gazette,
you don't get to play.
You don't get to know.
Don't get to play.
You're
this
not
is fun.
in the know unless you get our little newsletter.
Yeah, so be sure to be getting our newsletter. That's one of the things. Somebody says, what can I do for you guys? I want to be supportive. And I don't really have any funds right now. They're all going to the dogs, right? So we don't have enough. But his last Chewy just broke us. So we'd love to help you, but the dog had to have the Chewy. We get that. You want to support us? Leave comments, share the videos, like us, and subscribe to our free newsletter. And open it.
Now,
Boy.
But this brings us an interesting conversation. We've got almost 5,000 people registered to read our newsletters, and we have less than, well, I think it's just about 1,000 read it.
Yeah, so, you know, look at...
Then open it.
Then open it. I mean, I'm telling you what, the whole weekend is devoted to this ridiculous newsletter. We have all kinds of articles and things, and we give shout outs to people in the newsletter, and we write articles about things that you might want to know, and we show you in advance what the tutorial is going to be, well, advance in that day for YouTube, and we tell you other neat stuff, and it's a great newsletter. You guys, help us out here.
Okay, get off your high horse. Get back to painting.
All right, everything's dry now. Now we can get going from the oh my gosh, she jumped out of an airplane and this is what she came up with. I can't believe it. So maybe we can paint something. What do you think, John?
I'm sure you can do it.
I don't know. Now I'm feeling bad. I'm listening to my own publicity, going, oh no, what'll I do now? All right, let's just take some white, as I recall, and a little purple, and we're going to come up here. And you use the corner of the brush. The trick is you don't want to mix the colors too much. I want that darker. Let's put a little blue with that purple. Ultramarine blue with that purple. All right. I'm using just the corner. Put a little white in it. Let's try one brush smaller, one size down from that.
Does it count if we read it from the Facebook link in the club instead of the email message?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it matters.
We don't get, what? Does it matter, John?
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We like that you read it.
No, we just don't know it. When we look at our stats, it's not going to be a problem until we get closer to the next threshold of membership fees for that little program that we use.
Yep.
It goes over that number, I'm going to start deleting people. They can re-register if they want to, but we'll go through it and find the people that have not been reading the Gazette.
Well, we have to pay, you guys, it costs us a lot of money to send that out. It's not free. And it depends on what you think is a lot of money, and we're at the minimum charge almost, aren't we, John?
We're at the maximum of the level we're at.
At the maximum level before they start charging us big time more. And, that's a bit of a challenge there, isn't it? So, now I've done this, now I'm going to just put a little bit of a highlight on each one of these petals, like that.
How long does your palette stay fresh?
A long time, man.
2-3 weeks.
And
we got like 8 of them going right now.
Yeah, we have like 8 of them going right now. Absolutely, we do, right? All right, so there's that flower. That was fun. Let's do this flower. I like this flower. Let's do this one. Let's take some white. We get into those colors, magenta and purple, kind of mostly white. And let's squish some paint going this way. I'm using a lot of paint on the brush, see that? And I'm kind of dropping it and turning it, right? And I'm going to do it this way too. Just keeping all the paint on the one side and kind of dropping it as I twist the brush. You see that? You see how see how I'm leaving the paint?
Oh, Miss Peabody came in late. Sorry, I'm late. Been watching the rerun of the Zoom call for the RPM members.
Oh,
Wasn't that great? Come on.
Right, and people are saying, well, people are going to say, what is that, John?
Oh, that's the Royal Purple members.
Yeah, we did for those of you who couldn't make the live Zoom, it is now up in your special Zoom.
In your Zoom site.
On your Zoom site,
and
that was marvelous. It was. We went over all the
pictures.
All the pictures of photos that people sent in and thought they might make good paintings. Okay. And we explained why some would and some wouldn't. Lots of big time information in there. See how I'm just barely touching this? Floating it on this thick paint. See how thick I made the paint like that? So you're going, that's cool, right? Well, yeah, of course. It's cool.
We're
And
gonna get
let's,
the next one released, so should hopefully get that done this week.
well,
It's
we
only
fi-
Monday.
What was, yeah, it was just, we had to change some equipment in order for us to download it. All right, I'm going to come out up here on this flower here, and I'm going to take some more white. And there's a little purple on my brush, like that, a little bit of white. Okay, let's go into white and a little bit of orange. Kind of that cadmium orange color. Here we go. Now I'm going to glob some of this on. And it's just got a big blob of paint, and then put it here and then twist it. All right, let's see how I'm doing that. And I'm going to twist it here like that. And then there. All right, so that one's done. Well, we got some yellow on top, but that's basically how we're doing that one. Okay? And let's do this one. That's kind of a fun one to do. We're going to again take some cad red light, a little bit of white, maybe some yellow. Let's do that. Some cad red and yellow. Kind of glob some of that together. And we're going to come around here like that. I want a little bit more cad red and cad red medium and no yellow, just the two reds, the cad red light and the cad red medium. Okay. All right, we're going to come around on this side. We're going to say there's a flower there because we said so. And the same thing with this one. I'm going to say there's a flower there because we said so. And we might take some magenta on the inside. Say there's our flower, and maybe this side will be darker. There you go. Now, I'll put a highlight on that when it dries, all right? But right now, all I'm doing is just sort of gooping on some paint. It's a different way to paint. You know, we're not stomping today, we're gooping.
We're gooping on the paint.
We're gooping. Okay, so I'm going to take some little of that color again up here. I want to come up into this area here, and I'm just going to drop on. I'll take some purple and blue like that and come on up into this sky like that, this lighter part, and create a little flower going up here, kind of goopy. Okay. Goopy. Goopy. All right. How'd this do? At some point I'll have to dry this with a dryer. I won't be able to really dry it, but I can kind of flatten it out a bit. All right. So then, all right. So you're going, gee, Ginger, it's not making it. I'm not feeling it. I just love it. I'm not feeling it, Ginger. What are you doing? I don't get it. It's all right. It's all right. You don't have to get it yet. We're all right with that. Okay. So, oh, come on. So I've got a flower coming up this way. I think I can put that one in. So I've got some cad yellow light and some yellow and some marigold. And I'm going to come up here like this and goop it like that. And just come this way and goop something. Then I'll come over here, like I'm pretending there's a stem there, even though there's not one. Little cad red here. Cad red light. Let's do cad red. It's not showing up. And then I'm going to come on up here with the bright yellow and say that it goes up to a peak up here like that. And then this comes down here like that. Gooping, yeah, okay. So that kind of goopy stuff works for me. Let's try a little of that color here in the center of this flower. Like that. Whoop. And we could do a little of that here just with some marigold on this one. We could goop some marigold on here. And then some more yellow. Some bright yellow this way. We'll goop something that way. This is like a lot like frosting a cake. You're kind of gooping and you're wondering what you're doing, and you do your best, and then this will be just a little darker in here. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, these ones. We got to change pinks now. This is where the luminous rose comes in.
Bring out the big guns.
Well, for the bright pinks, you almost have to, don't you?
Absolutely.
That's luminous red. Just where's luminous rose?
Hey, let's give Anna Maria a big thank you for her donation. It came through PayPal, and we dropped a ticket in the old fishbowl for her.
Yeah, and Anna Maria, I read your comment to my daughter. Thank you very much. What you said, that was nice. All right, so I'm going to take some, let's see, let's get some white over here. Okay. I know, and again, you're going, what is she painting? This is the most hideous thing she's done yet. I don't get it. My God, do you see that? What on earth is she doing? So we're going to come on up here like this, and we're going to do that and some white. We're going to say there's some flower that, like that. There you go, a little bit of this pink color. Okay. And I want that luminous red. Let's just go all. Should we go all out, you guys? Why not, right?
Why not?
Let's go
Spend
all
the big bucks.
As long as we're doing this, right?
Let's do it upright.
Let's do it upright. All right, let's try some luminous red and magenta together. All right, this together. We're going to come under here like that. Let's suggest, oh, I'm going to just try magenta and white. I don't think I like luminous red. Okay, magenta and red. Let's try that. And white, because that can be kind of a pink. Yeah? Okay, well, all right. Now, okay, let me just try something here, a little bit of white and color. So I'm going to just pull this way, and I'm going to use the palette knife and pull it this way. See, I'm just swishing it up, and I'm going to pull it that way. Okay, that was the flower. Couldn't quite get with the brush. All right, so that's good. Let's do this one too. Let's do this flower. Just want it on the tip. I'll put a little more white out, okay. The trick is with this, you have some flowers that are more detailed than others. You're just suggesting some.
How about some of the pink opera?
Yeah, let's try a little bit of that.
That's from Julie. She suggested that one. You just can't have enough pink when you're doing flowers, can you?
No. All right, so you've got that, okay. Then you've got the luminous orange. Which now we're getting crazy. Making little tiny circles with that. Yeah, yes and yes. Now, I want a little bit of that on this one too, here, like this. Okay. Well, let's see, where's the yellow? Maybe some marigold. Let's drop a tiny bit of Marigold, barely touching it now. Okay, and then deep in the center of that, I want like a dark purple to give it a center. So right in the middle here, with this flower, and give it a dark center. See what a difference that made? That little thing didn't seem like much, right? But we gave it a dark center. There, okay. Now, okay, so that was fun. Then what? Oh, come on, you guys. I really love Mondays because I have no idea sometimes how I'm going to paint anything. I just decided I want to paint something fun, and, you know, by golly, I want fun. You guys want fun? Don't you want kind of fun, right? So let's take some yellow oxide in the green color. And let's come on up here like this and suggest some green. Yeah. And maybe we'll do a little dark green here. And make this a little darker. That's fun. And what if we had a green leaf coming this way? What if we had one coming out like that? The other day, okay? And we were discussing, well, I was discussing, they were listening. We were discussing, because it's just kind of a one-way conversation, right? But talking about thick and thin lines. One of the first things I learned in art school was thick and thin lines. If you're going to outline something, have some of the line be thick, some thin. Don't just have it one width, right? One thin line or one fat line. And something like that. See how this is all kind of squishy and different. Then when you come in here to do, you want to have something more precise that you've put in to balance it. Okay, so you want some little things that are kind of painted well to kind of balance all the rest of the stuff. Yes and yes.
All the chaos.
All the chaos. Yeah, that's we're chaos. You know, like for instance, we'll take a little bit of this green and stuff it right in here, and we'll just stomp it. A little bit of green and yellow oxide, and we'll just tap it in there, right? We might tap something in here like that, maybe a little yellow. Just see like that, and just tap it in. Okay, so that's the center of our vase, and then we want to say that, for instance, I want to say that this flower here, let's find a little brush. This one here maybe is painted a little bit more precisely, right? So some white. All right, so if I'm saying that that is right like that, I don't know why that's going pink on me. That's zinc. Let's do titanium. So now you see the flower vase is starting to fill in, kind of, right? So this is the trick with this. So I'm going to say that there's something here, this little flower here, and I've got another one up here, maybe, okay, like that, right? And then I might take my yellow and say, here's a yellow center. And I'll draw that in to suggest maybe something a little bit more yellow. And let's see, here's some yellow on the top. Now look, you can float a yellow if you're very careful. You can float anything. You can float, like for instance, you want to come in here, you can cut into this flower like this and get a shape if you need to. All right, so you're not just at the whim of some blobs of paint. Okay, so we might say that there's a thick and thin lines. Remember we talked about that? Thick and thin lines? We might just say that there's a stem of something coming this way. Or there's some bright little bits of yellow over here, maybe. Or there's a little bit of orange in the center of this one. And let's put some luminous in the middle too. It was good, right? But as you, so that's kind of tacky over. Let me give this a, well, I'm going to let that just sit for a minute, you guys, and I'm going to show you some other stuff, and then we're going to get back to finishing this. But before we do that, when I'm thinking about it, because I think about so many things at once, I know it's hard to imagine, just hard to do it all. Let's take some orange color, and let's come under here like this, and suggest that there's going to be a flower here. And let's come on over here to the top of this and say that there was a flower here and goop that on. Okay? Yes and yes. As long as we're gooping, yeah? And then I'm going to grab a little brush. Any questions, John, while I'm just yakking here?
No, you're doing quite well.
All right, so I've got right in the middle of this, I've got a bright center, and I think it's probably going to be like that, okay, in this flower. And then, okay, so I'm just going to use up a little green paint. And then I want to say that there's some, let's see, let's get a little bit of, let's make a green here, okay? Okay, we've got this, and we're going to say that there's some, it's got to be pretty thick. Okay, something green coming down here. Something green on the vase. Right, like that. All right, you see what's happening? There's just you can reshape a flower just coming back in here with a different leaf. All right, so keeping going here. I'm going to come up here like this. Too much water on the brush, even though I rinsed it. See how I'm getting it out? Okay, so that one. All right. All right, so we're getting, just as we keep doing this, and I keep wiping the brush off, changing colors, and we keep doing this. I'm doing this pretty much all without drying, which is fairly impressive in itself. I'm going to take a little bit of this white. Then put some yellow back. There you go, barely touch it, right? Is that dry yet? Not as much as we'd like, but would this fit on top? Can we pile this on top of this one and create a flower like that. Yeah, maybe kind of a half dead one, but we did it. All right. So I'm going to just let this dry for a second. I want to show you some stuff anyway, you guys. And then we'll go back to, I'm kind of excited. This year in, what I'm going for this year on our online art school, okay, is nostalgia. This is what I'm really aiming for, is to do tutorials that feel nostalgic, that remind us of a time when the world hadn't gone mad, right? Maybe it had gone mad then too, and we were just too young to know it. There was a time in our lives when we thought things were pretty swell, and we didn't have a care in the world, yeah? So, let's see, did you bring the... So one of my favorite new paintings that we're going to be releasing sometime in this spring is this, it's called The Office. As you can see, the typewriter and kind of a rainy day and a quiet little corner of the house somebody has
a little office set up.
Has a little office. Maybe you remember typing on a typewriter like this. This is a 12 by 16. And that's one of the tutorials. These are, people always think that, you know, we go from beginner to advanced on our online art school. And we encourage everybody, whether you've never painted before or you've been painting a long time, beginner lessons 1 and 2 cookie and go on. And the neat thing is that you can send your artwork in for personal art coach. You take a photograph, put a ticket, put it in, and I'll go, gosh, this is really good. You might want to make this area a little darker. Maybe that's all I'll tell you. But you'll learn something, and it's on the fast track to becoming a better artist and making sure that you know all the dog paddling moves. If you're missing a few, I'll mention it, right?
And that is one of our more challenging pieces. We're classifying that as a cookie factory lesson.
Yeah, and then one of the ones that we were supposed to release this in December, and we didn't have time. These puppies are coming up next. And I love that you're teaching how to do this old barnwood dogs. A lot of artists tell me that they wish they could make more money. We allow you to sell the paintings from our tutorials. You can't make prints, but you can certainly sell them and paint them again and again. And so if you ever thought about maybe doing dog commissions, learning how to paint dogs, we have maybe 15 or 20 dog tutorials on our website. That's just how to paint dogs, different kinds of dogs and fur and stuff like that. So we think that's something that you might really enjoy. So, okay, so coming back to our painting, John, do you have a shout out you can do or anything, or can I just dry this?
Let's just mute it for a second because you'll be quick. I'll just go ahead and jump right in there.
All right, awesome. Yeah, we'll just continue on like
nothing happened.
Like nothing happened, and everybody. I hope you're enjoying our story times pictures and and stories. We sincerely hope you are. And John and I thought we started that just right before Christmas. We're trying some things this year we think that you guys will find helpful. I'm just going to find a little rag here, just for my brush here. Okay.
With the official picker-upper.
My little special picker-upper. Okay. So we're phthalo green. I think we were out of that. All right. And one thing you can do is you can come back with your background color and shape a flower if you need to. If you need to add a light space, maybe you got too much, maybe you got just too much of one color somewhere. You can come back and, you know, make a little hole if you need to, okay? Maybe make a little light in front of something that needs a little bit. Let's see, just a little zinc white here. You know, you've got a few options. I'm going to put out some more yellow, cadmium yellow. That's a wonderful color, cadmium yellow. That's just really an awesome color. It's a great gold. So I'm going to put a little bit of this color here on top of this one. Remember, you can always come back and add a little something if you need to. All right. So I will take this cadmium orange, which is a very light color. Come here on this one and finish this flower. Same thing here. And let's see, we had some pinks, and what did we do with all those things?
All the pinks?
Well, the luminousness, you know. So I'm going to just play a little bit with colors for you guys with our table and so forth, and add a little more color to it. And there was a lot of fun little pinks and white on this tablecloth. Got some of that down there. There was some really, just barely, you know, 99% white, a little tiny bit of pink. There were some of these colors on here, kind of this peach color. It's festive. To me, this was very festive. When came up with this design, I thought it felt festive. Does it feel festive to you, John?
This one, absolutely. Got joyous colors in it, bright and cheery.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Was cheery.
Well, after you've got finished painting the rainy office, you needed to do a cheery one.
Well, yeah, that's right. You know,
makes sense. I mean, we just finished
right
that
on
one.
that, right? I want my light here. Just a cad yellow light. Let's do that. I want a light. Here, just going to goop up a little of this paint, put it over here like that. I want this a little lighter right there. See, once it's dry, or it's now you can start gooping on a few colors, and you're not. See, you can add to the mystique. Yes and yes. We might say that there's like a little green stem that's coming off of here. Maybe one that's going up there like that. It's the kind of things that happen to my flowers. Everything falls down. And let's see. Okay, I've got I took some yellow and phthalo blue, came over here and did this, added some more yellow to it. I want a really bright yellow green. Just going to float some color on here. All right. You have to be very careful because this is a dry, not as dry as I would like it, right? And let's see, maybe a little bit of this yellow and white. No, that's too green. Don't want green. Well, we can use that somewhere, just not here. All right. Okay, so now we're getting festive. Now, what about this purple color we've got here? Let's do this in white. Some of this kind of darkened up a little bit. Maybe we could do white and I don't think that, well, I know what we'll do. You're going, oh no, what? I have a plan, man. I usually don't use Osmine purple because, for the very same reason that I don't like to use it, is because it can glare, but I feel like I want a brighter purple that I'm getting. So,
a deep, rich purple. You can't beat it. And if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna varnish it anyway, does it really matter? No.
No.
So
I want you to see what I mean. I've got some purple there, but it's a little dull. See that right there? So if I take some Dazzanine purple and white paint. There we go. Let's see, where's my white? Where did I put that? Put it away. The thing is, you want to scoop it up. Want it even lighter than that. There we go. See that? See how that lightened that up? And I want something, I'm going to goop that up like this. And I want to suggest that there's some little purple flower in here that I'm not talking about, right?
you're not talking about it.
Well, but not for long. Okay? Then if I want something dark in here, I can put some dark purple for contrast. And see how that popped that. Okay. So let's see, let's finish this up with oh, I don't know. Put a little green in the center of that one. We're gonna do a few little tiny white flowers. Light yellow. Some darker red. Okay. Some lighter pink. Maybe some more white. Okay. So all in all, I I would say that because now I'm just sort of kind of scooping it up with my brush and putting it on. See, I want something a little lighter up here. Barely touch it. And then we want some lighter yellow. I don't know why I bothered to put that white away. When you goop paint on like this, it uses a lot of paint, but I want that kind of light yellow color here, almost a white on the tablecloth. And can kind of goop some of this on again here. And this was some of our lightest yellow right there too. So we're getting up to a frame pretty quick, John, I would think. We're getting close to framing time.
Frames, we got frames, my dear.
We got frames?
We got frames.
All right. So, you can dip your brush in paint and drop on paint if you need to.
Little dollops here and there.
You could use some texture on this too. You could. We're not doing it in this painting, but you certainly could, right? And just keep in mind thick and thin. The old rule, thick and thin. You want to make sure that when you're painting something, and where's our dazzling purple here? Here's a little bit dazzling here like this. We're going to do a little bit more dark even on this vase here. And when you're painting something, that you pay attention to your, not just your color surprises and that stuff, but see, I don't have enough white here. Your layers. You've got to allow stuff to dry. Otherwise, you end up with a hot mess. For instance, if I want something very light back here.
Either that or you turn into mud.
Yeah, it turns to mud, and then you wonder what happened. I don't understand it. The dryer is your friend, for sure. And let's see, I want a little orange here. Now, every once in a while I'll see a color I'm missing. Oh yeah, I remember. I keep putting that white away. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Just put it down here. Oops, I just dropped the cap, so for sure I'm not putting it away now. All right, between this flower and this flower, I need a little white flower. Okay? I just needed one there, and I needed a few little drops of one coming out this way. And something lighter on the tablecloth. Oh, this is fun. I don't know if you guys, we have so many people that like different styles of painting, but I was going to talk to you about that, get down to the basics of finding your, making sure that you have the basics down before you get too far down and, just discouraged because you can't paint anymore. Did you miss a couple steps? Did you mean to learn them and just skip them because you wanted to do something harder and just thought, I'll come back to it later, and then you forgot that you needed to know those things? That happens to people, John.
No.
Yeah, it does.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it does. It happens to the nicest people. You can't believe it. Just you're going,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it just so go back and peruse some of these other videos that we have on YouTube and see what I'm talking about. See if any of that could possibly apply to you. Want something kind of light green up in here, but wider. In all your studies, did you remember how to do this? So this is a little exercise, even if you never paint my crazy abstract of flowers, okay? If I said, if I want to start with the dark sky and get it to be light down here, okay? Let's just say that this is my end piece here, and I want to start up here. And I want to start from the dark and go down. Do you know how to do it? I know you know how to do it in watercolor, but you know there's a different way to do it in acrylics. Do you know that if you come across your painting like this and come all the way across the top like that, and you're going to say that's your dark sky. Now, I want to have this, I want a gradated sky. So how am I going to get that? Well, I'll take some white, and I'm going to come underneath, I'm going to come underneath this like this, back and forth like this, and then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to sneak up into this, creating like that. See what I just did? See? Now, if I want it lighter, I'm going to skip a space. Let me just rinse the brush a little bit. I'm going to skip a space. Let's see, where's my white again? I'm going to come down here with my white paint, and I'm going to skip a space. And I'm going to creep up on this. All right, now as I come down, and you go all the way across you go all the way across, but you keep layering down. If you needed to start over, for instance, with this, I'd have to, if I had to start over on this, I'd come on down like this, right? And then I'd rinse the brush, and then I'd overlap this again. I can still creep down. I can bring that down a little bit more, but it's easier if you do it a little bit at a time rather than going back up into here and fixing it. See that? You can't really fix it otherwise. You got to just kind of layer it on down and always go all the way across. Okay? That's how you do a gradated sky. Just keep on coming on down. And the same thing, you're doing an underwater scene and you wanted it darker at the ocean down here, which are green. You say you wanted it darker down here. As you come up, so it's a phthalo blue. As you come up, kind of ran out of white paint, but as you come up, it gets lighter. See what I mean? So when you're talking about blending and gradations and stuff, practice this on something small. Practice doing some of these things. This technique will help you oodles in painting. Just knowing how to do, these are what I would call dog paddle steps, but knowing how to do them is very helpful. So I'll put that away. And John's got the frame, I bet, for me somewhere. Yes? I'll just pick up all this, put this over here, get this out of the way. All right, so again, very happy abstract of flowers. When it's completely dry, you can come back and you can add colors if you need to. You know, you can come back and you can touch it up a little bit if you feel like you need to. But I would say give it a chance to, I'd say give it a chance to dry and really get your, let's get the marigold in there. See, this is still too wet, but I could take a little bit of marigold and drop a little bit of that marigold color in there too if I wanted. That'd be, kind of break this up too. So, but again, the trick is let it dry. Yes and yes. And then play. Let it dry and then play. And I think I'll sign it when it's not dry enough yet for you guys to sign it. But I'd probably sign it over here. If you sign it when you put it in a frame, then you won't. Sometimes if you're not careful, you could end up with a signature that's hidden by a frame, and particularly you don't want to do that. And I had some wonderful person write me the other day, and she said she had not been signing her paintings. And I'm going, oh, but oh yes, you want to sign them. You don't know. Signatures are everything. I would say for sure sign it. Have fun with this. Let loose. Letting loose does not mean messy, being messy. I guess that's the whole genesis of this. Letting loose does not mean being messy. Okay? So thanks for watching, you guys. It's also
not being a sock fuller either.
Yeah, just thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Thanks to those who donated to us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will be back next Monday.
Yeah, and
we don't know when we'll be live this week. We have a busy week.
We have a busy week.
It's a birthday week.
It's my birthday week. That's right. So we don't know, but we will make. We appreciate hanging out with you guys, and let's have the intention
real soon. That's what they say.
Yeah, let's just see you real soon, you guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you had fun with this. Sort of this crazy painting of flowers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Love you guys.